Hello, good morning, or good afternoon, and welcome to our weekly town hall here at Midwest Centers. My name is Brian, Director of Operations here at Midwest, and join with me, as always, is Michelle from Kish Housing. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Brian.
How are you today?
I'm really well. How are you?
Amazing.
Good.
Better, can't be better. If you have never seen one of these town hall videos, it's probably because you're new to Midwest. So first and foremost, I would like to welcome you, the newcomer, and let you know that whatever the reason that brought you here, we are glad you decided to start your recovery journey with us, and we believe that you're in the right place. So welcome. The weekly town hall is just our weekly show. Where we give you kind of need to know information about our programming, rules, reminders, changes, and hopefully get your week started off on the right foot.
Yep.
So, in order to get us started off on the right foot, I would like, as always, to hand it over to you, Michelle, for any Kish-related announcements.
All right. Thanks, Brian. Hello, everyone. I have quite a few little announcements and reminders this week. The first one is around the community room. And so just some community room etiquette. That community room is in the basement and is open for everybody who lives at Kish to be able to socialize with one another. But that space is for socializing and not intimacy. So I need you to keep your interactions with others PG rated while you're down there. These inappropriate types of behaviors could get you restricted from being able to use that space. And I don't want that to happen to anybody. So let's just keep in mind that that space is not for intimacy or making out or anything like that. It is for socializing, playing games, watching TV, like having conversations, maybe doing some book work, whatever. Those types of activities are appropriate for that space. Another reminder for weekly requirements, right? Here's your reminder that your requirements are due in the office by 10 p.m. on Wednesday. So your folders with your meeting verifications and your weekly check-in and your volunteer hours should be turned into the offices before 10 p.m. on Wednesdays. With that, one of those meeting verifications, at least one of those meeting verifications, I should say, should be an outside sober support activity or 12-step meeting. It isn't really acceptable to have all of your verifications come from a Kish inside activity or a Midwest Center activity, right? Like, I love that we have so many opportunities to have in-house meetings and the morning meeting here at the center. Those are all wonderful opportunities to engage with your recovery, but we also need to get out into the community and engage with some things too. So at least one of your three required activities should be from an outside community meeting. Reminder that morning med pass is from 5 a.m. until 6:45. The offices close at 6:45 so that the Kish staff can start doing wake-up rounds to make sure that everyone is up and heading out to the vans, because the vans start picking people up at 7 a.m. So please make your appropriate accommodations to get down to the office between 5 and 6:45 a.m. for your morning meds. Overnight passes. So this last weekend, we had some significant snow, and several people contacted housing to say that they couldn't make it back on time from their passes due to those weather issues. So I need to make sure that you guys are aware that your overnight passes, first of all, must be put into the office 2 days in advance. And you need to check back to make sure that that pass has been approved, because sometimes those passes don't get approved if you've had behavioral issues, or if you're missing some verifications, or if you've missed some attendance at the center. Those are all reasons that your pass might get denied. So you need to follow up to make sure it got approved. But then you also need to make travel arrangements that are secured so that you can make it back on time. Calling the housing phone to say you can't make it back on time does not excuse you from that requirement, right? You have to be back on time. And this last storm really showed us something, because the storm was well publicized on TV, the radio. Everybody was talking about how much snow we were going to get. And then I had a handful of people that weren't able to make it back because of the storm. You really should have prepared for that and made your way back before it got as bad as it got, right? So I'm going to need you guys to be a little more proactive about planning your passes and how you're returning from your passes. Smoking is the next update. I know it's been extremely cold. Nobody likes to stand outside in the cold, but it is absolutely prohibited. You are not allowed to smoke in any of the apartments at Kish. None of them. That is a fire hazard. It is a safety concern. It is a zero tolerance guideline in the living agreement. You can and will lose your housing if you are caught smoking inside of any of those units. Use the designated areas outside, or talk to your provider about nicotine alternatives that you can use to try to quit smoking. That's always a good idea too. Another update around the units is that using your ovens or stoves for an additional heat source is also prohibited. Like, you cannot do that. You can't turn your oven on and open the oven door because you think your apartment is cold. Like, you can't do that. That is a fire hazard and will get you terminated from housing. So if you've been doing that, discontinue that immediately. Maintenance needs. It's your responsibility to put in a maintenance request or speak directly to staff about any maintenance issues that you have as soon as you notice that there's an issue, right? Don't wait 3 or 4 days and then come to the office and show staff some really gross pictures of toilets because they've been clogged for 4 days. So please, when you notice that you have a maintenance issue, get on top of that and let the office know so that we can have maintenance follow up with it. Sometimes when we don't report things in a timely fashion, it creates a bigger problem than the original problem. So let's go ahead and make sure that we're handling those things. And I think that's all I have.
Awesome.
All right.
Great. Thank you. So now for some announcements for the treatment center here at Midwest. First and foremost, there are so many wonderful, beautiful souls that walk these halls day in and day out. And what happens when there is that many people in one place is that sometimes it could be very disruptive. Oftentimes, different groups take breaks at different times. So one group will be in session while the other is on break, and people are kind of talking and hanging out in the hallways and fellowshipping, and the noise can be distracting. So I would like to remind everybody to please use your inside voice when you're inside. Again, I know, like Michelle said, it's cold outside, so we don't necessarily want to go out. But, you know, there's the lounge, and while you're in kind of the common areas in the hallways, please maintain a low voice, and absolutely no music being played on Bluetooth speakers or on your phone. It's disruptive. There could be somebody in the middle of dealing with a crisis, and that can add to instead of take away from the crisis situation. So please, respectful, keep your voices down, no music being played. Also, within the group room, I've been told that this is becoming a bit of an issue. So a reminder, there are no headphones, sunglasses, or wearing of hoods, hooded sweatshirts, having your hood up in group. The reason for that, first and foremost, is hopefully you are here to hear a message that you can apply to your life in a constructive way. If you have headphones on, we don't know if you are listening to music and not paying attention to what's going on. If you have sunglasses on, we don't know if you're awake. Same thing with hoods. So that is a group rule in all groups here. No headphones, no sunglasses, and no wearing of your hoods. And I would add to that, participate, right? I said this before. This is your recovery. Nobody can recover for you, and you will get out what you put into this experience. I guarantee it. And finally, and this is a big one, guys, the vans are in an enclosed area. It's tight quarters. I know it's not ideal. However, that is the best we have right now to transport to and from Kish. That being said, there is absolutely, without a doubt, no vaping on our vans. In that close of a quarter, with individuals that may have breathing problems, it can be a safety concern where it can block the driver's vision. Absolutely no vaping. If a driver tells me that an individual is vaping, you may get a warning the first time, but for putting others at risk, their safety at risk, there will be some pretty serious consequences to that. All right, now for some positivity. There's been, again, a lot of positivity, and I always feel a little bad. I need to start carrying like a notebook to write down some of these shout outs because I know that I've forgotten some. And so I feel terrible because I want to give credit where credit is due.
Absolutely.
What I have this week is I know that Brady, Clarence, and Brendan all got new jobs, which is amazing. Congratulations to all of you. I was told that Anthony M is participating really, really well in group. And the facilitators and staff here wanted him to get a shout out. So good job. Like I said before, Anthony, you will get out what you put into this experience. So I'm glad to hear that. And then finally, I have a little bit of a story. Michelle, you know elephants, right? The animal elephants.
Yeah.
And I've told this story before, but I think it's been a while. So hopefully there's some fresh ears that can hear this one. Did you know that in India and other places of like East Asia, when they train an elephant from a baby, they take the baby elephant and they tie a rope around its leg and they drive a wooden stake into the ground. And so the elephant can't move. It can't get away from there. And they train it. Well, when they're small, that rope is enough to keep them in place. And they can pull and nothing is going to move the rope. So what happens after a while? They stop trying. I would imagine they feel helpless, powerless to do anything about it. They just accept that is the way it is. But as the years pass and elephants, as they grow massively, as we all know, they're strong enough to push over trees in some cases, and easily powerful enough to tear the stake from the ground or rip the rope. Yet they don't. The rope doesn't change. The same rope tied in the same way, staked to the same ground, keeps this massive animal tied in place. Not because they're not able to. They've learned that trying was useless. It's a form of learned helplessness. The moral is those things that once restrained you, what once held you back, they don't have power anymore. Accept the power that you still give it. Many of us, including myself, I was told so many times in my life, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'll never amount to anything. And I learned to accept that. Sometimes it was ourselves telling us these things, and we accept these negative things as truth. But freedom often begins the moment that you question the limits you accepted when you were small, and understanding that you don't have to accept those anymore because they are not your truth. And as always, everybody, have a happy, safe, and sober week. Thanks.
Bye.